You're watching the Fayetteville Government Channel. Up next, full coverage of the latest meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. The Parks and Recreation Advisory Board is composed of citizen volunteers and meets on the first Monday of each month. The board advises the City Council and city staff on issues that affect the city's parks and recreational programs. And now, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Let's call the meeting to adjourn. All right, first up on the June 3rd, 2013 Parks and Recs Advisory Board meeting is approval of the May 6th Parks and Rec Advisory Board minutes from last month. Has everybody had a chance to review those minutes?
Yeah. So I looked at them and I had some stuff that was, as far as what Steve communicated, there were some things, I know that we paraphrased a lot of that, but there was some stuff that, there was one. Do you want me to go over all that, or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Because we need everybody else's consent.
Okay.
And we're doing what Steve said.
Okay. Are y'all looking at it?
Yes.
Okay. That Steve Schneider said he's excited about working with Botanic Gardens. He wanted to make the situation work, but no agreement is reached, and he said it'll be very expensive for the cyclists. So I went back and looked, and what he said was
It's page 4.
yeah. No agreement on the best sustainable trail route can be reached, and BGSO continues to push the trail toward the lake, which is an environmentally sensitive and wetland area. He said it will be a very expensive proposal requiring an environmental study of at least $8,000 and boardwalk and bridges probably greater than $100,000. He said that if it happens, he hoped that Botanical Gardens and the city would be willing to pay for that if it is agreed that that is the best solution to the trail route through the wetland
Was there a study also? They're talking
Yeah,
about
I mean that's
$10,000.
yeah.
About the environmental study?
Yeah.
We should be able to use the same one that we currently have, right?
An environmental study?
Yeah. Oh, when we reworked the other trail on the other side? Has there not been an environmental study out there at all?
There was, when we got the 4 acres of donated land here on the south side. But that land's a little bit different than up by the lake.
So
And there could, unless you know of another one that I don't know.
No, I don't. I just assumed we'd already done one.
That was part of the state grant.
Okay.
I mean, there's state.
I thought I remember we'd done something.
okay. So it goes on, and it says, he said the organization loves Lake Fayetteville and has been working out there for 2.5 years. And the reason that his organization is endeared to Lake Fayetteville not only because they've been there for 2.5 years, but because the trail is a beginner friendly. And ORC is currently working towards a grant to initiate a youth after-school program to educate mountain bike trail users and outdoor activity. Continue?
Yeah, if you,
Okay.
he's just gonna, yeah, can you give us that sheet and we can
Okay.
incorporate it? If
I
you
mean, I went through just a small segment of it, and this was, I mean, I guess there was a few things, there was some stuff where, and I don't know if it's supposed to be verbatim what it said, or, I mean, like I said, I understand.
We have never done
paraphrasing.
us verbatim, but we always let the crowd, if there's something that they felt is important was left out or misstated, then
Yeah, I mean, I thought that.
we want those additions or omissions or whatever.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we can put those in.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to be added, Chuck?
I think the rest of it was pretty good. I've got one other note, I don't remember where it exactly fits in. The ORC, the City of Fayetteville, nor the BGSO, has the $100,000 to build an extensive boardwalk and bridge to the environmental sensitive wetland area, and I don't remember exactly where that would fit in.
Okay. Can we have your notes?
Sure.
If I guess we need to vote on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make a motion to accept the amended minutes from last meeting as per Chuck's additions.
Seconded.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion passes 6-0.
And then when she gets them, I guess, gets them updated, you'll just resend them to
We'll
us?
resend them.
Yeah, for files.
Chuck, if you wouldn't mind letting us
Okay.
have that one sheet, or I can copy it.
So, this was notes I had previously written on other stuff.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
But, yeah, just went like that.
We can send it to us tomorrow.
Okay, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Whatever you want to do.
Okay,
Or we'll return your sheet to you.
that's fine.
Okay. Next up is Eagle Scout Project, Austin Bittinger. Hello, sir. So you have a presentation for us?
I do.
Waking up here. There we go.
And this is about the realignment section of the natural trail at Lake Fayetteville.
Right, I'm Austin Bittinger. I'm from Troop 116. It's a local troop. I'm a Life Scout, so I'm working towards my Eagle right now, so this trail would be my Eagle project. So the main things right now is the current trail runs north to south and the water runs straight down it. So this would control the erosion, and it would also make riding it more enjoyable, since right now it's just a straight line and there aren't any curves or anything. So it's on the west side of the trail, or on the west side of the lake, that is, and it runs like that. And as you can see, it's very straight, and the rain really does just go straight like that. And I would add in some serpentines in here to make sure that the water has a lot more to go through, rather than just running straight down like a river.
Can you give me some orientation of where exactly we're talking about? This is north of the lake, on the north side of
It's
the lake?
on the west side of the lake.
It's north of the disc golf parking lot. And-
Okay,
Next to the
And then
environmental
over by
center.
the Environmental Study Center, it's like, right down here.
okay, so when I go to the Environmental Study Center, that little curve that I had to go back up to some famous guys, what was it, Don Tyson Parkway, is that the Parkway? Is that, so that road that I'm looking at on the left, Don Tyson Parkway straight south?
Straight north.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry.
You know where the prairie is?
Yes, but I'm
That's the
saying,
prairie right there in the corner.
so this is like coming.
Goes
Okay.
right down the hill.
I think, okay, I'm sorry.
The environmental center is down here.
Environmental Study,
I'm
right?
sorry. Okay.
So northwest corner of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of our property, actually, far northwest corner of the property.
So the process here would be Mr. Maxwell and I would go out a couple weeks ahead of the actual project, and we would flag out some very dense areas of brush, and then the city would presumably brush hog that for us. Most of it the boys will be able to do by hand. And then after that, I'll have the boys, which will include adults from the troop, probably some of my friends and my friends' dads, and then the boys out of the troop. And they'll focus on clearing everything out and then making it so that the trail isn't quite so level and curving it. Alright, so I said this before, it'll serpentine. And right now, it's just the drainage of the area, and people have tried to change this before, but people keep on using the old section of the trail, and the erosion comes right back. And 5-degree outslope on the trail, just that the water will wash off of it instead of pooling up and making the erosion worse. Right, and so as far as all that goes, in addition to having the boys work on leveling the trail like that, they'll also be destroying the old part of the trail and covering it up to make sure that we don't have the same issue we have right now where people are just going back over what we've tried to replace.
What do you do to cover it up?
We'll probably use some of the brush that we'll have to move out of the way.
This is, you guys are helping them do all this?
Yeah, it'll be, from our standpoint, be pretty straightforward. We just need to mow the corridor. This will be a pretty quick project, I would guess.
Have any questions?
I think you ought to look at also maybe trying to plant some trees in the old section.
All right.
That would be ideal to help keep.
Or some grass or something? I don't
Yeah.
know what kind of grass you got out there,
Could the city donate the trees?
That low, but we can look at some of them.
All right.
You should probably maybe solicit some of the nurseries around town, see if you can't get them
All right.
to provide some.
Well, at that time, it's not a great time to plant trees right now.
No,
Because
right.
No,
Gonna
I
be
would, yeah, I'd wait till
watering
fall.
majorly. Yeah, it's
It's gonna be really compacted too, it's gonna be hard to do that.
When
I
you
think you could plant some grass and put down some wheat straw or something like that over the old trail to help the erosion part, if it's eroded.
In the fall, we can come back and.
Yeah. When do you think you're gonna get started?
I plan to get started by next month. That would work for you.
What's your deadline day?
I don't have a deadline.
On your-
When do you turn 18?
When do I turn 18? I have a couple of years.
Oh.
Good.
He's on top of it. He's on top of it.
Yeah.
So in other words, he can wait till fall to plant some trees in there.
Well, it might be something where the city has to come back in and do something a little bit later.
That's kind of been the only issue we've faced out there is continual reopening the fall line stuff due to, I mean, you can put whatever you want in that spot, and if it doesn't weigh 500 pounds, somebody's willing to move it.
I have a rock in my front yard that you are welcome to have if you'll come pick it
You
up.
just gotta come get it.
It's well over 500 pounds. So, where do you get your, where do you guys get your projects from? Like, why this project?
By this project, I didn't have any ideas, so I talked to some people in the troop and I talked to Mr. Maxwell about this.
All right. Well, this is awesome. I think everybody would say we appreciate it.
It's a great project, I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
I had to accept a motion. Do we have no more questions?
So moved.
Seconded?
All right, motion to accept the Scout project as presented. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next up on the agenda is the town of Arden.
Get out your tick spray.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Answers to the questions presented. I don't remember when it was presented, I guess 4/26/13. So do I just need to read over these questions and answers?
Well, we just wanted to keep you all abreast as the communication was coming about. So if you all have any questions or anything that you would like to,
I've heard anything new from Wall regarding the as it stood a month ago.
So they haven't gotten the revisions to their master plan yet? Or I say revisions, they haven't done the,
Well, the
Detail.
stakeholders meeting, they decided instead of just meeting with the stakeholders in one group, they wanted to meet with each of them individually and then come up with a plan. And he did move their date from July Parks Board to August now. So that's, do you have anything else, Byron?
No, they're working on the stream side protection right now with Sarah, just trying to get some clarification on how that ordinance might blend with them. And just trying to get that drawn on a map or staked out in the field.
to who's staking it out? Who's determining that?
Sarah Reed is the stormwater engineer, and she administers the stream side protection ordinance. Her and the city engineer, which is Chris Brown.
So she's gonna stake out where the botanical gardens can and cannot.
Where the street side is that has to be protected.
Is there any way for us to just take that, ask them to give that portion of that lease back? Just, if you can't do anything with it, why don't they just give it back to the park?
I think, let's wait and see what they come up with. You know, that line might be drawn elsewhere, it might even be further back that, you know, we'd entertain that. Let's see what their proposal is while we're meeting with these stakeholders. But that is an option,
So we'll have an update next meeting, I
yes.
assume.
You all have meeting next month or is that the off month?
This is the off month, so it would be in July.
So it'll be July. Okay. So we won't have an update really till August then.
So we've got nothing since the stakeholders meeting.
No, you all attend a meeting. Please.
Yeah, no, they're still discussing it and still working with their architect and their properties committee, trying to get clarification from the city on the stream side ordinance. They, last I'd heard, they were hoping to have something by August. They're trying to, they got all the information from the stakeholders and they're wanting to contact each of them and just kind of work through it all. So hopefully when they come back, be a solution that everybody can agree with.
On the second page of that, it says the next steps regarding the master plan approvals are as follows. This kind of outlines it, I think, gives you kind of an outline. They reviewed that, BGSO reviews the request from the public and consider them in the proposed master plan. And we're asking them to include a description of the building program and usage expected so that the city can respond back to Arkansas Parks and Tourism, their head guy, John Deneke, to make certain it complies with the grant that we received there. And prior to the June stakeholder meeting, which is going to, park staff and city administration would like to request a review of the plan and any revisions that would be presented to Parks Board and City Council. So before they present to you in August, we've requested that they meet with administration and park staff and review those. And then we're a month off, actually, for it's June and July is the stakeholders meetings. And that kind of goes through here.
Hey, one other question I have is what did the mountain bikers do before that bridge was there? When was that bridge built?
I don't know. There was a previous bridge. There was a previous
Oh, there was an older.
wood structure bridge that actually they had, that is further on the property that's still there.
They used it in
That's
another
what the-
spot.
That's what the bicyclists use.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
That one,
telephone
Mhm.
pole.
Yep.
that one that we walked over
Mhm.
on the way out there?
Yeah, the
That I
one-
fell through?
Yeah.
It's probably been out there maybe 5, 6 years,
Oh,
I
yeah, my
guess.
kid rode across
I would
that.
guess.
That,
The concrete bridge,
yeah, it's been there.
probably 5, 6 years.
Yeah, I would say at least
Longer.
that.
Yeah, it's one of those
No,
first
it's-
things that they built after they finished the building, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would,
Building's been there 6 years, I think,
I really, okay.
so.
I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, that one was dangerous to say the least.
Oh, man.
Get a little wet, a little
And we
green.
walked over it, and then we walked in, there's this beautiful concrete bridge spanning. Connie's trying to kill me out here. Make sure.
You were on leased land.
So I got just a couple things on that whole, because there were some people that brought up the fact that they thought that Lake Fayetteville was given that property by the state. There was some of that was communicated at that meeting. And
No.
the stuff that, no, that's what I wanted to kind of reiterate, the history, that it was bonded, that the city paid for that.
The city actually purchased it through the water department
Right.
as a second, and it still is a secondary supply of water to our city. If there should be something that happens that we can't utilize Beaver Lake, Fayetteville water will be our drinking water, and they'll utilize the dam area and probably somewhere over the west side. So that's why David Jurgens is real kind of protective of what we do in that area and wants to be involved with us on it.
Are there any other comments on that?
I don't have to. Did y'all read through the minutes from like the 1997 city council and some of that stuff that was said back then?
Where, do you have this?
That was, Connie gave that out, she sent that to us a while back, kind of when all
The
that
history?
stirred up.
Was that
The history, but those, the 1997 minutes. Okay. So Miss Porter, who was the director, she was the president back then, stated at that meeting that the existing trail, which is basically a walking trail, that everyone was in agreement that it will be left as a walking trail. I mean, those were things that were communicated to the city council back in 1977 when this was established. That Alderman Shaper, yeah, that it would be kept in a natural state and could be augmented by private efforts. Did not see the need for the lease to the botanical gardens at that time. That Ms. Porter stated that the woodland area would have to be restricted at the point of access to the garden on the western woodland property. And then Alderman Zurcher suggested that it be a conservation easement, that didn't see that it should be, that it shouldn't be developed. What else? Kevin Crossan, Public Work. There was a couple things that he said. Could give the society advantage over other nonprofit organizations and put the city in an uncomfortable position when approached by other nonprofits. He was concerned that the forest area is delineated from the developed part of the land. He also stated, I thought this was important, that stated that a 50-year lease, and while a lot of things may be understood currently by that 1997 city council and the people that were involved, that 25 years from now things could be interpreted dramatically differently. So I thought, even then they were looking at it going, this is a lot.
Why did they lease that space to the botanical gardens?
Because they requested it.
But why would they give them that space and no room to grow? If you
Well-
know the city's gonna grow, and you know the botanical gardens, they have to grow.
They did a plan, and it, the plan fit into that, the 100 acres. And
What do you mean they did a plan? Who did a plan?
they hired protocol, and they did a plan that, a master plan of the gardens back then. Actually, if you want to hear it all, back in 1997, I actually, was that 1997 when the gardens came about? I left the city for 94, and I came back in April of 1998. And it's kind of during that time when I was here before, the botanical gardens had came to the Parks Board, and they had, they had many questions that they kept asking, and several. And finally, they kind of got tired of waiting, so they went on the city council and asked for this lease, and the council granted it to them. So there wasn't a lot, kind of like we're doing right now, doing a lot of evaluation and on it. That really didn't happen. Then they hired Protocol, which was great. They had public meetings, you know, public could come in at any time and look at their proposed master plan before that was developed. So that process worked very well. They worked real hard to get that through there. But that's kind of how it started a little bit.
Let's go see the new space.
Any other comments or on that? If not, so how do we do this? I guess we can't adjourn yet, but let's say, but we're going to do a tour of the regional park?
Yes, and the government station is not going to be able to tour with us.
Okay.
So we have a city van out there that we can all jump on, and it's still a public meeting.
Okay.
We just don't have the cameras on us.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.